All right, let's get to the main event. The Rolijah Hardy press conference. The first ever Rolijah Hardy press conference.
The big reveal to the nation, to the world. Rolijah Hardy.
I want to shout out
21 in your program, the greatest football player of all time, besides Ed Reed.
I want to shout out Indiana Sports Fanatic for tagging me under the who's the greatest athlete to wear number 21 and say Rolijah Hardy. That was absolutely epic and full blown support that, full blown second that one. Yeah, Ro Hardy, greatest ever player to wear 21.
I felt a little left out because I'm kind of been the big Ro Hardy hype guy. I was the first one. I was the first one to call him the greatest football player of all time.
So, you were. I'll give you that.
So I deserve some flowers. I just felt.
Well, this is literally like this is gonna be a treat for you then, Brad. Let's talk Ro Hardy.
I'm so.
They asked him about the first scrimmage again. He echoed what Kalen Black said. It's all about development. They asked him about the lessons he learned from last year. He said it's about when you're jumping in to be ready. It's about staying in the playbook. He said it was kind of like a whirlwind of getting to campus and all that, and just like knowing the playbook and being ready at all times, and regardless of like who's on the field or whatnot, 'cause you never know what's going to happen with injuries and things like that. And next thing you know, you could be playing, so you always got to be ready.
That's that Navy prep school in him.
They asked him about his confidence in the playbook, and his quote was, "Me, Fish, Bones, Haynes got in the playbook this summer. I'm very confident."
You're telling me he wasn't confident last year when he was getting a pick six on every fifth snap he took?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. This guy's going to get better. It's insane. That's what about
that was possible, to be honest.
What he learned from watching and playing with Jalen Walker. He talked about his play speed and the way he used his hands, which is a very underrated thing for a linebacker. I heard him talk about his hands a lot, and something I really kind of wasn't expecting, but I've heard Fisher talk about that as well. Asked him about Brian Haynes. He said he's very helpful to have him around, especially him being the linebackers coach and the leader of the defense. So, he's kind of tuned into what the defense is doing. And obviously the linebackers are like the quarterbacks of the defense. And so it helps having the guy running the defense also run that room.
Yeah, and I think it's important because like Rolijah Hardy, in terms of his career trajectory, he's wearing that green sticker next year. So him getting in line with all that is going to be huge for Indiana in the future. Because I don't think they're going to just do a 1 year with Jones. I think they'd rather go 2 years with Hardy with the green sticker. So then you could have a little bit of continuity going into 1 year to the next and replacing, number 4. Like that's going to be a tall task.
Yeah, which I don't even want to talk about.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. Move on.
They asked him, this is where the thudding equals tackling came up. They asked him about, is it an adjustment to have a softer practice style? And he said no. Essentially, if you can be a good thud team, like Coach Haynes says, you should be a good tackling team if you're a good thud team. And so it's just about being technical, like being in the right position, making sure you're thudding in the way you would be tackling. And then that can just translate through in the game. You just finish it. Like you were talking about 15, 20 minutes ago. Physicality was not an issue for this team. This team can tackle.
Yeah, they hit very hard. And I think part of it comes from the fact they don't get to hit all year until you unleash little, Indiana State on them. Then they're gonna go to pound town. They're gonna bang.
He talked about Fisher, the leader. He said he's great. He's vocal. People gravitate towards him, which obviously everything we've heard about Aiden Fisher backs that up. Talked about his own self-belief. He said he's got a lot of it. Coach Haynes, Cignetti trust him, and that's where a lot of that comes from. They asked him about his prep year. He said it made him hungry, kind of gave him an edge, gave him a drive. He didn't have all the offers he wanted coming out of high school or coming out of that prep year. And so you can see obviously the chip on the shoulder he plays with, and like Brian Haynes sniped that dude, obviously.
Love that. That was one of the sickest pickups. And yeah, I will say, as much of a big fan as I am now, I did kind of gloss over him a little bit when we first started this podcast and went through that whole class. And lesson learned. Honestly, we should start with the lowest ranked guys and start backwards when going through our classes moving forward. Because clearly, it seems like the guys that play the earliest are the lower ranked guys. Historically, so far, obviously that's probably going to change. And,
well, it seems like that's who they like. They like him the best to take him over what the consensus ranking says, and so it's like they obviously see something that people were missing. Ro Hardy, perfect example.
Sig has his formula. He
does. talked about his offseason, talked about getting in the playbook, talked about getting better at recognizing pre-snap indicators, getting faster. Speed was a big one again for him. We talked about speed for pretty much everybody on this team. Everybody on the team wants to get faster.
We
Derek
all saw
Owen.
the Jeremiah Love run, so yeah, I would say speed is going to be a big thing. That
Yep.
needs.
And he said using his hands as well, kind of
Yeah.
working on that. This will be your favorite answer, Brad.
Yeah.
They asked him like what does he attribute his knack for the ball to?
Oh,
And he said it's just pre-snap indicators, being a ball player, and being in the playbook.
being a ball player. How do
you
I'm
get
just
the
good at
ball so much?
football.
He's like, I'm just a football player. Like, I don't like, what do you mean? He's like, I watch what
I play
happens before the
football.
play and I
I play
read the
football.
playbook and I just make the plays. Like, what are you talking about?
It's so easy for me.
Literally.
It's like Goodwill Hunting. It's like I'm sorry I'm sorry you're too stupid to understand this and you're fumbling around and fucking it up. You know, it's easy for me.
That was
That's
literally
Rolijah
the
Hardy.
answer.
Literally, literally. Reason why I start calling him Goodwill Hunting at this point. I have to.
Good row hunting.
Yeah,
Goodwill Hardy.
Good row hunting.
Good row Hardy. I don't
Good
know.
row
There's
Hardy.
something there.
Yeah, no, there's something to it.
They're like, how are you around the football this time? Like, I'm just a ball player.
Yeah, I
You're
just play
goddamn right
football.
you are.
Yeah. Why are you so good at football? Because I just play football. That's what I do. You know.
And then they asked him about Indiana's running backs. He said they're pretty good, versatile, one of the best or one of the strongest backfields in the nation. I would agree.
Yeah.
In between the Roe Hardy and the Cignetti pressers, I wrote down officially nervous about Lewis Moore.
Who said that?
Me.
Oh, okay. I think we're okay.
I'm less nervous now than I was yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm nervous just because I know the NCAA can fuck it up sometimes. So
I agree. All right, let's talk about Cignetti. Practice 10 was today. Yeah, practice 10 was today because he called it tomorrow and the press conference was yesterday. If you're getting the dates confused, today's the 12th, yesterday was the 11th, tomorrow's the 13th. So you need to know where we're at. He said it's an important week. He said the first scrimmage, like all first scrimmages, too many penalties, too many missed assignments, but the effort and the competition was good. So that's not surprising at all.
clean it up in film. That's why we do the scrimmage.
They asked him about LeBron Bond. He said he picked up where he left off in the spring. He said football is really important to him. He needs to be a little bit more consistent, but he's in a really good spot to help this football team in the fall, which echoes everything we've been hearing about LeBron Bond.
Mm-hmm. Great to hear.
Talked about Lewis Moore's waiver. He said Lewis Moore's got his full support. Part of the issue that Lewis Moore has run into is that him and a lot of the guys in his similar situation had a 5.5 year window or whatever it was. Pavio was within his 5-year window. So he couldn't really say much more about that. It's a legal matter. It's ongoing. And obviously we talked about that. That'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, that does make me feel
trial.
a lot more nervous about it. Is that point.
So we'll see. Talked about the running back room and Roman Hemby. Said Hemby's a vet. He's had a solid camp. He needs to improve in his pass protection. Black has had a great camp. It's a good camp. BB was back yesterday. It was his first practice, which I thought was pretty interesting. He said Van Horst ran well in the scrimmage, pass protected well as well. In 2019, he was a walk-on. 3 snaps into the Virginia Tech game, he due to injuries was on the field. He started 6 to 7 games that year, hurt his ankle, and was never kind of able to get back on track. So maybe Van Horst is a guy we see schemed into the offense a little bit more than he was last year, or maybe due to looking good in the scrimmage, maybe we see him get the opportunity to take a few more kicks out. And then he said Kobe Martin is getting better.
Good to hear. Kobe Martin's improving. Nice. Yeah, no block, no rock, Roman Hemby. No block, no rock. We'll give those touches to Kalen Black. No worry. He'll block. Yeah.
They asked him how important Kellen Wyatt was, specifically playing across from Mikal Kamara, and he said he's important, but they need all 11 guys doing their jobs. That's the most important. But specifically on Wyatt, he said he's high effort, high energy, intelligent, versatile. He's had a great camp. He's a big addition. He's really going to help the football team. He spoke glowingly of Wyatt.
I did, and well, he did, but I've been hype on the Wyatt train for a while. I had him, all the hype was on Stephen Daly because he probably had better numbers coming from the MAC, but Wyatt is a power forward player, was one of Maryland's best defensive players on their team last year. He's going to be a huge addition to this team, and yeah, the pass rush on this defensive line is going to be insane, and it's really exciting to see that. Schematically, we already have a really good run defense, so it's just about really executing on that front. And yeah, I think that is somewhat of a concern, but considering how good we were against the run last year, it's really hard to imagine a drop off really affecting us all that much.
Couldn't have said it better myself. They asked Cignetti how Chandler Whitmer is doing. He said in the spring there was a learning curve, but he's doing a great job now. He said all of his experience basically came from the NFL and kind of working with NFL style guys. So kind of adjusting back into the college ranks took a little bit of time, but he said he's doing a great job. He's a film junkie. He's smart. He's got a great demeanor. Obviously somebody Sig enjoys being around. And he's doing a great job coaching the offense. So glowing reviews for Coach Whitmer as well.
Love it. As expected, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear he's looking like that. It's expected at this point, those types of remarks and things like that. So it really just comes down to how is Mendoza going to play on the field? I think that needs to be, that is a question mark. Obviously we feel good about it, but it is a question mark going into the year. Like just how good is Mendoza going to be locked into this offense without Tino, giving them the answers, because Whitmer's figuring out the answers at the same time Mendoza is at times. So, to see how that plays out is probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to see come Old Dominion.
They asked Sig about the wide receiver room as a whole, and he didn't really answer the question. He said they had a good week offensively, but they still made mistakes. He said it partially because the defense was shorthanded. That's when we got the Amari Farrell news. We also got news about Ro Hardy was dealing with a bit of a groin. He missed some time last week. I'm not sure if he played in the scrimmage or not. And D'Angelo Pons tweaked his ankle in around the first few plays of the scrimmage. He was completely fine, held out for precautionary reasons. He was back at practice today. Then he said they have a chance to be really good on offense. They are there's not an area of the team that's in game form yet. They're progressing. The competition, the speed, the tempo has gone up. The execution has gone up. But he said you can't let physical fatigue affect mental fatigue, and basically hammered home the point that the game happens between your ears, and it's all about kind of finding that mental toughness. So that was the wide receiver room from Sig.
Yeah, we got they clearly need to block downfield a little bit more. Yeah. I'm sure that's what he's calling him out
on. They asked Cignetti about the specialist. He said it all starts with Mark Langston. Short snap, long snap. He's the best in the country. You mentioned Frankie. He said 80% of his kicks were non-returnable last year. That may have even been a higher number if you have the actual stat. I don't know if Sig pulled the actual number. And he said McCarthy gets the ball off quick with great hang time. And you were talking, I think you said 4 or 5 average punt yards
adding
more.
About 4 average on our punt game this year by bringing in McCarthy, Australian guy, Croatian kicker. I mean, vibes are very high with the specialist this year, which was a big issue last year. If we're going to be honest, like special teams, as sound as they were in some games, Ohio State game, that was a clear flaw in the team. So, hopefully Radicic can get his distance up to kind of encapsulate what could be a very, very top tier Big Ten specialist group. If we have Radicic knocking down 50-yarders, I mean, I can't think of
that would be insane.
There's not going to be so many groups better than that, to be honest, in the Big Ten. So exciting stuff.
They asked him about the tight end room. He said Nowakowski is a lot like Wyatt, smart, hardworking, consistent. You know what you're going to get from the guy day in and day out. I said he's going to be a valuable member of the offense. Said Stays is improving as a blocker. He's got soft hands, big, long body, can get down the field in passing situations. And the goal is to keep Bamba healthy this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great room. Another solid room. When you break down beyond Bamba, two freshmen. So keeping those guys healthy is paramount. But hearing the good things about Nowakowski, I think is really promising and not really something I was expecting. I was thinking of it more as an H-back, but it sounds like they're really going to get him involved in the pass game. And that's cool to see. We all saw the clip of the back shoulder in the back of the end zone. He kind of mossed Isaiah Bones-Jones, who isn't necessarily the best in coverage, but plays on IU's defense in their top 10. So, I'm sure he can do that on a bunch of other linebackers across the country too. So, pumped to hear about that. That's just icing on the cake, honestly. Like Nowakowski first downs, like that's just gravy. That's just bonus, really. Just luxury.
Seems like there's a lot of that on this Indiana roster.
Yeah.
They asked Cignetti about younger guys stepping up, kind of fishing for maybe like a Byron Baldwin or a Hollywood Bell or like type of esque of an answer. He didn't give anything of that sort. He said there's a lot of opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
And then they finished up with the offensive line. He said it's in a good place. It's starting to gel, but it's not game ready yet, which is like you saw a lot of Sig. He didn't pull back on his team, but it was very much of like things are going in the right direction, but we have a lot of work to do. It was very much the humble and hungry of continue to be humble, continue to be hungry. Even if they were practicing great and looking crisp and where he wanted them to be, he definitely wouldn't be telling them that, especially not to the media.
Oh, for sure. Not even before they played a snap. No.
All right. Do you want to